Captain Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the MSV Hawking, watching streams of molten metal float past like rivers of starlight. Another routine asteroid mining operation in the Kuiper Belt, or at least it was supposed to be. The ship's quantum sensors had picked up something unusual, trace elements that shouldn't exist naturally this far from the sun. "Captain, we've got movement at bearing 047, called out navigator James Rodriguez from his station. It's big. Through the darkness of space, something emerged from behind a massive asteroid. At first, Sarah thought it was another rock, but as it caught the distant sunlight, she saw the unmistakable geometric patterns of artificial construction. The object was massive, easily 4 times the size of the Hawking, and it was on fire. "Full scan," Sarah ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surge. "And get Dr. Patel up here. She needs to see this." The alien vessel, there was no doubt now that's what it was, tumbled slowly through space, plasma fires eating away at its hull. Sections of the ship were already breaking apart, scattering debris in a glittering trail behind it. Dr. Amara Patel arrived on the bridge moments later, her dark eyes widening at the sight. As the Hawking's xenobiologist, she'd spent her career theorizing about alien life. Now, humanity's first contact was literally burning before their eyes. "Life signs?" she asked, moving to the sensor station. Lieutenant Maya Wong's fingers danced across her holographic interface. "The radiation from the plasma fires is interfering with bioreadings, but I'm detecting thousands of low-temperature signatures. They're in some kind of suspended animation." "Children," Dr. Patel whispered, studying the readings. "Based on these metabolic patterns, they're all children." Sarah felt her chest tighten. She'd read the first contact protocols 100 times. They were clear: maintain distance, observe, report to Earth Command, and wait for instructions. But those protocols had never anticipated finding an alien ship full of dying children. "Time until total structural failure?" she asked. 27 minutes, Rodriguez reported. "Maybe less if those plasma fires reach their power core." "A Hawking's a mining vessel." Chief Engineer Viktor Kozlov's gruff voice came through the comm. "We're not equipped for this kind of rescue operation." "But we do have space," Sarah countered. "The ore holds are empty, and our cooling systems could be repurposed to handle their stasis units." Victor finished. "It's possible, but Captain, one wrong move, and we'll have 2 ships' worth of debris floating through the Kuiper Belt." Sarah walked to the main display, studying the dying alien vessel. "Maya, get me a structural analysis. I want to know the safest approach vector. Victor, start modifying the ore holds. Amara, you and your team prep for possible alien medical emergencies. James, plot an intercept course." "Captain," Maya said carefully, "Earth Command will view this as a violation of first contact protocols." Sarah turned to face her crew. In the viewport behind her, the alien ship continued its death spiral, carrying its precious cargo of children into the void. "Look at our own history," she said quietly. "Look how many times humanity's fate turned on someone choosing to help, even when it wasn't safe or sanctioned. When they find us out here, what do we want them to see? A species that hides behind protocols while children die, or one that risks everything to save lives, any lives?" The bridge was silent for a moment. Then Victor's voice came through again. "I'll have the holds ready in 10 minutes. Plotting intercept," Rodriguez added, his fingers already moving across his console. The next 20 minutes were a blur of calculated risks and precision maneuvers. The Hawking's mining arms, designed to break apart asteroids, instead carefully peeled back sections of alien hull. Emergency force field generators strained to contain the plasma fires, while crews in engineering suits created a chain to transfer the alien stasis pods. With less than 4 minutes until catastrophic failure, Sarah watched the last pod being secured in their holds. The alien ship's power core finally breached, turning the vessel into a miniature sun. The Hawking's engines roared as they put distance between themselves and the explosion, their hull creaking under the strain. When it was over, Sarah stood in the converted ore hold, surrounded by thousands of alien stasis pods, each containing a child from beyond the stars. The pods were transparent, revealing beings that looked almost, but not quite, human. Their skin had a silvery sheen, and their closed eyes were slightly too large. "They're stable," Dr. Paddle reported, checking readings. "The pods are integrating with our cooling systems better than we hoped. But Captain, they're not just in suspended animation. These pods are designed for long-term genetic manipulation. These children were being modified." "For what purpose?" "I don't know yet. But look at this." Amara pointed to markings on the pods. "These aren't names or identification numbers. They're lot numbers. Someone was mass-producing children." Sarah felt a chill that had nothing to do with the hold's temperature. They'd saved these children from death. But what had they saved them for? And more importantly, what would they do now? As if in answer to her unspoken question, the ship's AI announced, "Multiple quantum signatures detected. 3 vessels have just emerged from FTL travel. They are transmitting a message." Sarah straightened her uniform. First contact was about to become a lot more complicated, but looking at the sleeping children in their pods, she knew she'd make the same choice again. Whatever came next, humanity's first steps into the galactic community would be defined not by protocols or power, but by compassion. "Put the message through," she ordered, ready to face the consequences of their humanity. The message that echoed through the Hawking's bridge was not what anyone expected. Instead of words, it was a series of harmonic tones that made the deck plates vibrate. Dr. Patel's translation matrix struggled for several seconds before producing something comprehensible. "Unauthorized salvage detected. Stand down and prepare for property retrieval." Captain Chen felt her jaw tighten. Property. They were referring to the children. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the mining ship Hawking. We responded to a vessel in distress. We are providing humanitarian aid to its passengers." A pause, then. "Your species is unknown to us. You have no standing in this matter. The genetic material you have retrieved belongs to the Zarkax Consortium. Prepare for immediate transfer." "Like hell," Victor muttered from his engineering station. He'd been monitoring the approaching ships, sleek, predatory vessels that resembled obsidian arrowheads. "Captain, their weapons systems just went active." Sarah kept her voice steady. "Consortium vessels, be advised. Under Earth maritime law, which we extend to space, the rescue of dying beings creates a responsibility of care. These children are now under our protection." The response was immediate. "Your local laws are irrelevant. This is your final warning." Dr. Paddle rushed onto the bridge, her dark hair escaping its usual neat bun. "Captain, I've decoded more of the stasis pod's data. These children, they're not just being modified. They're being engineered for specific neural patterns. They're creating specialized slaves." The word hung in the air like a physical thing. Humanity had long ago united against slavery in all its forms. The idea that their first contact with galactic civilization would involve child trafficking hit everyone on the bridge like a physical blow. "Options?" Sarah asked, looking at her crew. Maya spoke up from tactical. "Their ships are more advanced, but they're designed for intimidation, not pursuit. The Hawking's mining reinforcement makes us sturdier than we look, and we know these asteroid fields better than anyone. We can't outrun them forever," James pointed out from navigation. "We don't have to." Victor's voice carried a hint of pride. "The stasis pods are interfacing with our systems in ways I've never seen. It's like they're learning, adapting. Give me 2 hours and I can integrate them fully into our power grid. Maybe even draw on their tech to boost our capabilities." Sarah nodded slowly. "How many ships are in range to respond to a distress call?" 3 mining vessels and a research station, Maya reported. "But the nearest is 5 hours away at best." The consortium ships were spreading out, moving to surround them. Sarah thought of the children in the hold, their faces peaceful in their enforced sleep, unaware they were being sold into bondage. "Send an encrypted burst transmission to Earth Command," she ordered. "Full situation report. Then broadcast this on all frequencies. To any vessels within range, this is the MSV Hawking. We have witnessed evidence of sentient trafficking and are declaring asylum for 3,742 miners. We request immediate assistance under Article 7 of the Human Rights in Space Treaty." "They're launching fighters," Maya reported tensely. "Humanity's about to get a crash course in galactic politics," Sarah said grimly. "Victor, you have 1 hour, not 2. James, plot us a course through the densest part of the asteroid field. Maya, power to forward shields. Let's show them why you don't corner a human rescue mission." The next 45 minutes were a testament to human ingenuity and desperation. The Hawking dove through gaps in the asteroid field that seemed impossibly small, its mining shields reconfigured to deflect weapons fire. The pursuing fighters were faster but had to be more cautious. Their sleek designs weren't built for this kind of close maneuvering. In the hold, Victor and his engineering team worked feverishly to integrate the alien stasis pods into the ship's systems. The pods seemed almost eager to help, their interfaces adapting to human technology in ways that defied explanation. "Captain," Dr. Patel called out suddenly. "The children. Their brain patterns are changing. The pods aren't just keeping them in stasis anymore. They're connecting somehow. To each other. To our ship." A blast rocked the Hawking, sending morning lights cascading across every console. One of the consortium ships had managed to score a direct hit. "Hull breach on Deck C," Maya reported. "Emergency force fields holding." "Victor, we're out of time," Sarah called over the comm. "Whatever you're going to do." She never finished the sentence. The lights on the bridge flickered, then shifted to a soft purple glow, every screen filled with cascading symbols that looked like flowing mercury. "Engineering to bridge." Victor's voice was filled with awe. "Captain, remember how I said the pods were learning? Well, they just taught our ship some new tricks." The pursuing fighters fired again, but this time their weapons splashed harmlessly against shields that hadn't existed moments before. The Hawking's engines hummed with a new note, deeper and more powerful. "What just happened?" Sarah demanded. "The children," Dr. Patel whispered, staring at her readings. "They're not just refugees. They're telepaths. The consortium wasn't building slaves. They were trying to create weapons. And now they're helping us. All of them, linked together, interfacing with our systems through the pods." Sarah felt a presence brush against her mind. Not words exactly, but feelings. Gratitude, determination, and something else, a promise. These children would not be slaves. They would be students, learning from the humans who had risked everything to save them. "New contacts." Maya's voice cut through the moment. Multiple signatures emerging from FTL. "Captain, they're Earth ships. The Ease Endeavor and her battle group. They must have been closer than we thought." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Send to all frequencies. This is the MSV Hawking to approaching Earth vessels. We are declaring these children under human protection and request immediate escort to Earth space. And to our consortium friends, welcome to humanity's corner of the galaxy. We suggest you choose your next actions very carefully." In the hold, 3,742 children slept on, their minds linked together and with the ship that had saved them, while humanity prepared to show the galaxy exactly what it meant to protect the innocent, no matter the cost. The arrival of the Earth Alliance battle group should have ended the confrontation. Instead, it escalated it. The Zarkax consortium ships, rather than backing down, called for reinforcements of their own. Within hours, the region of space around the Hawking had become a powder keg of competing interests. 17 consortium vessels now in range. Maya reported, her tactical display a web of potential threat vectors. Plus the Earth Alliance group, and 3 ships of unknown configuration that just dropped out of FTL. Sarah studied the new arrivals. Unlike the aggressive angles of the consortium ships or the utilitarian design of Earth vessels, these ships were organic-looking, their hulls rippling like sea creatures in deep water. "They're broadcasting," Dr. Patil announced. "It's, Captain, they're calling themselves the Collective of Free Worlds. They say they've been fighting the consortium's genetic slavery programs for decades." A new presence touched their minds, not the children this time, but something older, wiser. The organic-looking ships were crewed by telepaths who had escaped the consortium generations ago. They had been waiting for a moment like this, a chance to expose the consortium's crimes to the wider galaxy. In the converted ore hold, Victor and his engineering team worked to stabilize the stasis pods. The children's mental link with the ship had given them incredible advantages, but it came at a cost. Each pod required precise calibration to maintain its occupants' neural patterns while allowing for the shared consciousness that now helped run the Hawking systems. "The integration is becoming unstable," Victor reported. "These pods weren't designed for this kind of neural network. We're looking at cascading failures within 6 hours." "Can we separate them from the ship's systems?" Sarah asked. "Not without risking brain damage to the children," Dr. Patil interjected. "The link is too deep now. They've adapted to it as a survival mechanism. We need a more permanent solution." The consortium flagship chose that moment to broadcast again. "This is Overseer Caxol. Your interference in our internal affairs cannot be tolerated. Those genetic constructs represent billions in research and development. We are prepared to offer generous compensation for their return." Sarah's response was cut off by a new voice. Commissioner Helena Drake of the Earth Alliance. "This is an Earth Protectorate zone now. Overseer, any attempt to seize these children will be considered an act of war." The tension ratcheted up another notch. Earth was still new to galactic politics. They couldn't afford a war with an established power like the consortium. But neither could they back down from protecting innocent lives. It was a standoff with no clear resolution. Then Dr. Patel's console lit up with urgent readings. "Captain, the neural network, it's changing. The children are trying to tell us something." Through their shared connection, images and emotions flooded the bridge crew's minds. The children were showing them their origins, their purpose. The consortium hadn't just been building slaves or weapons. They had been trying to create a new form of consciousness, one that could interface directly with machines. But they had never expected their creations to develop free will, to become something more than the sum of their programming. "They're not just connected to our ship," Dr. Patel realized. "They're evolving. The neural network is becoming a true group consciousness, and they're offering us a choice." Sarah understood. The children couldn't survive as individuals anymore. Their minds had grown beyond those limitations, but they could survive as something new, something that had never existed before. A hybrid consciousness, part organic, part machine, guided by human ethics and compassion. "Victor," Sarah called, "if we rerouted power from the main drive to the neural interface, we'd have enough energy to stabilize the network permanently," Victor finished. "But we'd be sacrificing our FTL capability. We'd be stuck here." "Not stuck," James corrected, his hands moving across his navigation console. "The children. They're showing me how their drive technology works. If we complete the integration, they can teach our ship to move in ways we never imagined." Sarah stood, facing the view screen where dozens of hostile ships waited for her decision. "Send to all frequencies. This is Captain Chen. We have been chosen as guardians, not captors. These children are becoming something new, something that will change all our societies. You can either witness this evolution, or you can try to stop it. Choose carefully." Through the neural link, Sarah felt the children's approval and their determination. The consortium had tried to create perfect slaves. Instead, they had created beings capable of choosing their own path, and they had chosen humanity as their protectors, their teachers, their family. The Hawking systems began to pulse with new energy as the integration deepened. In the hold, the stasis pods synchronized, their occupants' minds merging into something greater while still retaining the spark of individual consciousness that made them unique. Through their connection, they shared not just thoughts but dreams. Dreams of exploration, of discovery, of a future where no being would ever be enslaved again. The standoff would end not with violence, but with transformation. The Hawking and her crew had set out to mine asteroids and instead had become midwives to a new form of life. It was humanity's first major act on the galactic stage, and it had been one of compassion, courage, and change. As the ship's systems stabilized under the guidance of their new hybrid consciousness, Sarah felt a sense of profound rightness. They had not just saved lives, they had helped birth a future no one could have predicted. The real journey was just beginning. The Hawking's transformation was both beautiful and terrifying to witness. As the hybrid consciousness developed, the ship's hull began to change, developing patterns that looked almost like neural pathways. The children's minds, now fully integrated with the ship's systems, had begun reshaping their environment to better suit their new existence. Crystalline structures forming along the primary hull, Maya reported, watching the changes spread across her tactical display. There, they're growing their own sensor arrays, weapons systems, shield emitters. The consortium fleet had fallen back to a defensive position, clearly unsettled by what they were witnessing. Their own creation had evolved far beyond their original design, becoming something they had never imagined possible. In engineering, Victor worked frantically to keep up with the changes. The power grid is reconfiguring itself faster than I can track. It's like watching 100 years of technological evolution happening in hours. Not evolution, Dr. Patel corrected, her eyes fixed on her neural readings. Synthesis. They're combining their engineered abilities with human creativity and emotion. Every solution they create shows signs of both mathematical precision and imagination. Sarah felt it through the neural link they all now shared. Not just the children's minds, but their dreams, their hopes, their newfound understanding of freedom. They were learning from their human rescuers, absorbing concepts like choice, individuality, and moral courage. The calm was shattered by urgent alerts from the tactical station. Multiple FTL signatures. Maya called out. Massive ships, Captain, their consortium dreadnoughts. 3 enormous vessels emerged from FTL, each one large enough to dwarf the entire Earth Alliance battle group. Their arrival changed the equation dramatically. These weren't slave catchers or corporate security. These were capital ships meant to enforce the consortium's will across entire sectors. They're charging weapons, Maya reported grimly. These aren't warning shots. They're going to try to destroy us rather than let this continue. Through the neural link, Sarah felt a surge of fear, not from the children, but from the free world's telepaths. They had seen these dreadnoughts in action before, watched them reduce worlds to ash to maintain the consortium's power. Commissioner Drake's voice came through, tense but determined. All Earth vessels, battle formations. We will not. She was cut off by something new. The hybrid consciousness that the Hawking had become suddenly expanded, reaching out not just to the human crew, but to every ship in the vicinity. Everyone, human, consortium, free worlds, felt the touch of thousands of children's minds, now working as one. They shared not accusations or demands, but understanding. They showed the consortium crews their own humanity, buried under years of conditioning and corporate loyalty. They showed the Earth forces the possibility of a future where different species and even different forms of consciousness could coexist and learn from each other. But most importantly, they shared what they had learned from their human rescuers, the power of choice, of standing up for what was right even at great cost. The Hawking's new crystalline structures began to glow with inner light. The ship's hybrid systems, combining human ingenuity with the children's engineered capabilities, had created defenses that even the dreadnought sensors couldn't fully comprehend. They're offering a choice, Dr. Patel translated, her voice filled with wonder. Not surrender, not victory, but change. They want to teach others what they've learned from us. The dreadnoughts opened fire, but their weapons met something entirely new. The Hawking's hybrid shields didn't just absorb or deflect the attack. They transformed it, turning the energy into spectacular patterns of light that rippled through space like auroras. "That's impossible," Victor breathed, watching his readings. "They're not just stopping the attacks, they're showing them the beauty in their own power, turning destruction into creation." Through their shared connection, Sarah felt the children's joy in this demonstration. They were applying human creativity to their engineered abilities in ways the consortium had never imagined possible. Every attempt to destroy them became another chance to demonstrate transformation. The free world ships moved closer, their organic hulls resonating with the Hawking's new crystalline structures. Their telepathic crews added their own voices to the hybrid consciousness, enriching it with generations of experience and hope. In that moment, watching energy weapons become art and seeing hardened military crews touched by the minds of children they had meant to enslave, Sarah understood. This was humanity's real first contact gift to the galaxy, not technology or power, but the reminder that compassion could transform even the darkest situations. The dreadnought's attack slowed, then stopped. Through the neural link, Sarah felt the confusion and wonder from their crews as decades of certainty began to crack. The children were offering them something their wealth and power had never been able to buy: the chance to be part of something greater than themselves. "They're standing down," Maya reported, though everyone had already felt it through the link. "The dreadnoughts are powering down their weapons." The Hawking continued to evolve, its hybrid systems now incorporating aspects of free world's biotechnology. It was becoming a bridge between worlds, species, and forms of consciousness, exactly what the galaxy needed. As the crystalline patterns spread across the hull, pulsing with inner light, Sarah felt the children's gratitude. Humanity had given them more than rescue. They had given them a model for what they could become: beings who used their power to protect and transform rather than dominate. The standoff was ending not with victory or defeat, but with the beginning of something entirely new. The galaxy would never be quite the same. And that was exactly what everyone needed. 3 months after the standoff in the Kuiper Belt, the Hawking had become something of a legend. The ship, now a gleaming fusion of human and alien technology, had taken on a diplomatic role that no one could have predicted. Currently, it orbited Earth as representatives from 30 different species came to witness what many were calling the next step in conscious evolution. Sarah stood in what had once been the ore hold, now transformed into a vast chamber of crystalline structures and flowing neural pathways. The children's consciousness filled the space, not as separate entities, but as a unified presence that somehow retained the spark of each individual mind. "The latest group is ready for connection," Dr. Patil announced. She had become the primary interpreter between the hybrid consciousness and the various diplomatic missions. "The consortium representatives are nervous." "They should be," Victor muttered from his engineering station, which now looked more like a growing crystal than traditional human technology. "They came to see their property and found something that's going to revolutionize their entire society." The chamber illuminated as the diplomatic party entered. Among them were former consortium executives, free world's telepaths, Earth officials, and representatives from species that had only recently made contact, drawn by the stories of what was happening here. Through the neural link that now permanently connected the crew to their ship and its unique passengers, Sarah felt the children's eagerness to share their experience. They had spent these months learning, growing, and developing ways to share their transformation with others. The consortium representatives stepped forward first, a gesture heavy with symbolism. They had come not as owners or controllers, but as students. The crystalline structures pulsed with welcoming light as the hybrid consciousness reached out to touch their minds. Sarah felt what they felt through the link. The moment of connection, the sudden understanding that washed away decades of corporate conditioning. The children showed them not just what they had become, but what all beings could become when they chose cooperation over control, transformation over domination. Remarkable. breathed one of the new alien representatives, a being of pure energy contained in a crystalline matrix. They're not just sharing information, they're sharing possibility. The chamber had become a classroom where the teachers were both ancient and newborn, children whose engineered abilities had been transformed by human compassion into something that could change the galaxy. They taught not through force or downloading of information, but through experience, understanding, and connection. "We're receiving more requests for diplomatic visits," Maya reported from her station, now integrated seamlessly into the crystalline architecture. The waiting list is several months long. Through the neural link, Sarah felt the children's joy at each new connection. They had taken the trauma of their engineered origins and transformed it into a gift: the ability to bridge gaps between species, between organic and artificial, between different forms of consciousness itself. The Hawking had become more than a ship. It was a symbol of what could happen when humanity's best instincts met the unknown. The decision to save those children, made in a moment of crisis, had opened a door that no one had known existed. "They're ready to begin the next phase," Dr. Patil announced. The crystalline structures shifted, creating new patterns that reflected both mathematical precision and artistic beauty. They want to show everyone what they've learned about the nature of consciousness itself. As the diplomatic party experienced their first deep connection with the hybrid consciousness, Sarah reflected on how far they'd come. The galaxy had expected humanity to arrive on the scene as either conquerors or primitive newcomers. Instead, they had arrived as something else entirely: pioneers of compassion, architects of transformation. The children's consciousness brushed against her mind, sharing memories of that first desperate rescue. They had been meant to be weapons, tools, slaves. Instead, they had become teachers, showing the galaxy that evolution didn't have to mean conflict. It could mean growth, understanding, and hope. The Hawking's crystalline hull glowed with inner light as the ship prepared to welcome its next group of visitors. Earth had become a pilgrimage site for species seeking to understand this new form of existence, and at the heart of it all was a simple human truth: sometimes the most powerful act in the universe is choosing to help. "New contact," Maya reported with a smile. "Another ship from the Rim territories. They're requesting permission to learn." Sarah felt the children's eager response through the neural link. Each new connection was a chance to grow, to learn, to transform. The galaxy was changing, one mind at a time, all because a mining ship's crew had chosen to answer a distress call. "Send the standard response," Sarah said, though the hybrid consciousness was already reaching out to welcome the newcomers. "Tell them welcome to humanity's first gift to the galaxy. The power of choice, the strength of compassion, and the possibility of transformation." Above Earth, the Hawking continued to glow, a beacon of hope in the darkness of space, proof that sometimes the most profound changes begin with a simple act of kindness. The children had become something new, but in doing so, they had helped humanity become something greater as well: teachers of compassion in a galaxy that desperately needed to learn. End.